Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me. Oh, man. Awesome show for you today. Hey, please start hitting that like and subscribe button if you're watching over YouTube. Please start hitting that 5-star review if you're listening over Apple. We're going to reward you today. A tight show, Steve Kim and I talking about what went on in the National Football League and a few other sports-related topics. And then when we're done, me, you, Steve Kim, and everybody else are going to go watch Michigan and Washington. And so buckle up, get ready for a tremendous show. It's going to be awesome. Before I get to Steve Kim, I want to tell you the other thing I need you to do. Support one of our great sponsors at Samaritan Ministries. Even though we're into 2024, it's not too late to take a look at healthcare sharing with Samaritan Ministries. It's not insurance. It's a community of Christians paying one another's medical bills. And because it's not insurance, they're not bound by open enrollment, so you can join any time of the year, even today. Check out these 3 reasons Samaritan Ministries could be right for you and your family. 1, you're part of a Christian community. When you have a medical need, fellow Samaritan members send money directly to you to help you pay your medical bills, and you'll do the same for them, all while praying for and encouraging one another. 2, there are no networks, which puts you in control of your family's health care. You know what's best for them, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you go to and have a say in the treatments they receive. 3, you set your start date. Join today and start with healthcare sharing with Samaritan Ministries right now, or join today and choose what month you'd like to start. It's up to you. Whether it's a broken bone, cancer, pregnancy, or other medical emergencies, you'll find comfort knowing you're connected to 80,000 Christian households across the nation who stand ready to care for one another spiritually and financially during a time it's needed most. And it could be more affordable than what you're paying now. SamaritanMinistries.org/fearless. Join today. Steve Kim, welcome into the show. I want to just give a little context because we got to get down to business, Steve. We got to just chop wood, give them this great content, great takes after great takes, because I got a lot of ground I want to cover, but I want to do it in a concise time frame. But Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints decided to fake a kneel down and hand the ball to Jamal Williams so he could score his first touchdown of the season when the Saints were already winning 41-17 against the Atlanta Falcons. Let's watch. I think we can watch the Saints fake kneel down and run here. I think he certainly had a right, particularly with the fake kneel down. If they had lined up and the defense was like, okay, they're running a play, someone could have gotten hurt on that play when you do that kind of thing at the end of the game. It's just standard protocol and sportsmanship. Let's listen to Jameis Winston's explanation for why they did it.
Well, I apologize to DA because the play was victory, but I also explained to DA that it was a team decision, and I think when you have a team morale, and I asked the guys, I say, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective, so I give him that. But DA didn't condone that at all. You know, he didn't. However, we decided as a team to do it, and man, we got an interception to the 1-yard line. You know, like. So if we would have scored, would it still would have been disrespectful? Right. You know. So
Tyron wasn't in on it, was he?
No, Tyron was not in there.
No, I'm just kidding.
Like it was an offensive team discussion. However, when you return the ball to the 1-yard line and you have that opportunity, we just had that opportunity and we decided.
Do you think it's the kind of thing though that is forgotten fairly quickly, or you know what I mean? Like,
I think it should be forgotten, especially when the score is already 41-17. So I don't know how much worse it can get. But I got a ton of respect for Arthur Smith and the coach that he is. I think they do some incredible things. I didn't want to disrespect him. That was not my intention. My intention was to lead the team that I've been with the entire year. And we made a collective decision that we wanted to get one of our guys who they fight with blood, sweat, and tears every game in the end zone. And I'm going to feel good about that. Yeah.
So no regrets, huh?
No regrets. Well, this is the thing. It's about the team.
So, Steve, my takeaway is, what team is he talking about? And the team he's talking about to me is team entitlement. He's entitled. And professional athletes are entitled. And so Jameis Winston, who's had a checkered career going all the way back to college, questions about his leadership ability, questions about his coachability. He screws over his coach and, defies his coach and does something and then tries to justify it. It's team entitlement. I don't like it.
We're going to disagree here, but I'm with Jameis. I'm going to eat this W. Yum, yum, yum. How could you not like this guy? He's funny. He's irreverent. He doesn't take himself too seriously.
Irrelevant. You were right. Irrelevant. Go ahead.
And irreverent. And we cut it off, though. But there was also this exchange that he had with this other reporter talking about, don't you think the Falcons are going to remember this? And I love the fact that he had a disagreement with the reporter. And he actually just said, hey, that's your opinion. I have my opinion. But we can still get along. And he did it with a smile on his face. And I think too many athletes in that situation would have got heated. They would have got angry. I like the fact Jameis said, well, that's your opinion. And I'll have mine. And it was good-natured. I actually said, you know what, Jameis, you're a funny guy. You're a national treasure. I love the fact that he sometimes doesn't get it. Stuff goes over his head. He's the most unintentionally hilarious athlete of our time. You know what? I appreciate that because he's not trying to be an activist. He's not making all these gestures. He's just his goofy, dumb self, and I love it. Jameis, game ball to you. You're okay by me. Let's eat that W together. You're good.
Okay, Steve, you're entertained by it. You like it. Do you want him to be your quarterback, Steve?
Well, now,
if you're a head coach, do you want him to be your quarterback?
No, hey, I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth. What are you talking about? Okay, look, Jameis had one of the most statistically impossible seasons ever. He went 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. That'll never be done again in football. First of all, most quarterbacks, by the time they get to 16 interceptions, are benched. He got all the way to 30. That is amazing. But this is what Jameis is. He's a character. I think he's a really good backup and spot starter. Okay? There are games that he's going to look like an all-pro, and the next week he's going to be a turnover machine. There just is not that consistency within his game where you could say, you know what, you're going to be our quarterback for 17 games, and you're going to win his double-digit number of games to take us to the playoffs. It's not going to happen. But I get the sense that he's the type that's good for team morale. As a media member, I would love Jameis Winston. Be honest, Jason. He's one of those guys in the locker room you can go to and say, you know what, I want to have some fun. This guy's going to say stuff. We take this stuff too seriously. Jason, these guys are only playing a ball game. This is not that important. If Jameis makes me laugh and he entertains me, I'm good with them.
Okay, Steve. The Saints aren't the Miami Hurricanes.
Right.
But let's pretend they were the Miami Hurricanes. Do you want your quarterback disavowing your head coach and doing something the coach doesn't want done? I get the whole, hey, I'm entertained, I'm a fan, I got it. This is bad football, and it's an indication of a mentality that is undermining a lot of athletes and, in my view, a lot of black people. The entitlement mindset. Hey, Jamal, his paycheck isn't enough. It's not. Doing his job isn't enough. He's entitled to a touchdown because he's been with us all season. And screw Dennis Allen. Again, this is why Jameis Winston, this is part of the reason why he failed as an NFL quarterback. He's uncoachable.
Well, first of all, if you were to say, Steve, would you want him as your college quarterback? Well, all I know about Jameis Winston is this: as a college quarterback, he put on one of the greatest seasons ever in 2013, first redshirt freshman ever to win the Heisman Trophy, and that Florida State team was loaded. And guess what? Even in his sophomore year, when he was not as good, they still got to the playoffs. So as a college quarterback, you say, Steve Kim, do you want Jameis Winston and all the baggage that he brings? Yeah, I would. you're right, but his limitations and sometimes his mentality does not work over the long term with the National Football League. But Jason, can we be honest? When Jameis Winston went rogue in that huddle, he said, "Hey, fellas, no, we're not doing this victory formations. Jamal, let's get you a touchdown." Do you really think he was talking about any black or social issues? No, he just wanted to hook a teammate up. Let's not make this more of that than what it really was, Jason. Come on.
You're distorting my argument. You're distorting my argument, Steve.
There we go.
I'm saying that there's an entitlement mindset that made him prioritize, well, we got to get Jamal Williams. This would be nice for Jamal Williams. Whether it's bad sportsmanship, whether it's a bad look for my head coach, whether it's a bad look for my organization, screw all that. I got to take care of Jamal Williams here. There's a partnership between the head coach and the quarterback that Jameis Winston clearly has no respect for, and that's why no one will ever, in the interceptions, will ever trust him again as a starting quarterback, and he may have just devalued himself even as a backup moving forward.
You know what? That is fair. I will not argue that because Jameis Winston is who he is. He's a bit of a cartoon character. I think you in the past, long ago, you called him like Gomer Pyle, which is really
yes, he's Gomer Pyle. Yeah. Golly, Andy. That's not, yeah. Golly. Yeah. That's Jameis. Yes.
But can we be honest? Dennis Allen is not a good head coach. Maybe that's not a guy you want. Maybe he lost the team.
How do you know? What do you mean? Didn't they just win 10 games?
Well, they didn't win 10. I think they went 9-8. Whatever.
9-8.
Whatever. I just Dennis Allen's a guy. He's a beige spot on a beige wall. All I know is this: the world is a better place with Jameis Winston. He's funny. He makes us laugh. Come on, really, Jason? Come on. He's harmless. You're making too much out of this.
You're bending over to
what?
Shannon Sharp agrees with me. I didn't want to do this, but now I'm gonna play the Shannon Sharp tape. Shannon Sharp agrees with me. Play the tape. Play the tape.
This explains why Jameis Winston is not in Tampa. This is why explains why Jameis Winston will never be what people wanted him to be because of this.
What?
The coach called victory formation. He said it was a team decision. What team? There was no defensive players on the field. The team is a team. So the team is just offense now?
No, I mean the offense that was on the field at the time.
That's not a team.
What? We want to get the touchdown for brother.
That's not what
brother Jamal.
You see what happens when you go rogue? Now, this explains why Baker Mayfield was basically able to take the same team that Jameis Winston has and make the playoff, and Jameis couldn't. Had I been on that field when Jameis did that, I'd have jumped off sides on purpose. That's why Jameis isn't a winner in the NFL. You have a winner's mindset. You have winners. You have losers. It's really simple. Now you see why they went and got Derek Carr with Jameis Winston on the roster.
Derek Carr, okay.
Hold for 1 second. I gotta say this because I'm just blown away. I don't know what's going on, but I can't believe what's going on with Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp, you know how long I've been lighting up Shannon Sharp, and now day after day I have to sing the man's praises, and I gotta do it again. Club Shay Shay and this new version of Shannon Sharp, I cannot hate on it. I'll tip my hat again to Shannon Sharp. How you gonna disagree with Shannon Sharp, Hall of Fame tight end, making all the points I just made?
Whitlock, I don't even know who you are anymore. But see, I look at it this way. Ocho Cinco agreed with me. So there.
One guy's in the Hall of Fame with 3 Super Bowl rings, and one guy is a lifelong bingo who got cut by Bill Belichick at the end of his career because he couldn't follow directions. And you think being on Ocho's side trumps being on Shannon Sharp's side?
You know, Jason, I may have to call an audible on that one. Now that I think about it, yeah, maybe audible out of that one.
All right, I'm beating a dead horse. Let me take care of another one of our great sponsors, and then I'm gonna move on. to another little controversy from the NFL. Hey, guys, are you the same guy you were 10 years ago? I'm certainly not. I'm better. Talk about how you woke up one day and realized you didn't have the energy, the lean muscle mass, or the get up and go in the bedroom that you used to have. As we age, we lose testosterone. They call it the man hormone. I call it the fire. But there's a real solution. The powerful testosterone booster in Nugenix Total T. Talk about how it revived your energy, powered your workout, put the old fire back in the bedroom. Your old self is back. You feel amazing. You can tap the brakes on the aging process. Every day that passes, you lose testosterone. That means less muscle, less energy, and less get up and go in the bedroom. Are you really ready to lose your shape, your muscle, your energy? Are you really ready to get old? You can slow it down with Nugenix Total T. Nugenix Total T boost free and total testosterone to help you get the old fire back at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom. Nugenix Total T testosterone booster with Testofen will help you turn back the clock and re-energize your life. Prove it to yourself risk-free. Try Nugenix Total T before you buy. There's nothing to lose and everything to gain. New energy, new muscle, drive, even more passion. Get your complimentary sample when you text 231231 and enter the keyword fearless. Nugenix Total T's Power Boost is backed by clinical studies and real science. Nugenix key ingredients like Testofen have been shown to boost free testosterone levels in men. In other words, it's based in science and it works. Looking for the old confidence? Nugenix Total T can help re-energize your life and help you get back the powerful, confident, good-looking warrior you used to be. And if you're not totally satisfied, Nugenix will refund 100% of your purchase price plus shipping and processing. Now get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text 231231 and enter the keyword fearless. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, the newest and most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you lose fat fast and get lean even faster. Absolutely free. That's 231231. Just text that. Enter the keyword fearless. 231231. Enter the keyword fearless. All right, Steve, I want to move on to another highlight from the final game of the regular season. Jake Browning's girlfriend, the backup quarterback for the Bengals, who played pretty well after Joe Burrow got hurt. He's got a girlfriend who wanted her Taylor Swift moment, wanted a little Simone Biles moment. And have you seen these pictures and videos of how she was dressed at the Bengals game? And do you respect it? Or do you think, she's doing a little too much here?
Well, it's obvious that she's not Jake Browning's backup. But I just wonder, I don't know, maybe she's going to bobsled practice. Aren't the Olympics coming up soon? Look, of course she knows what she's doing. I would love to know, does she have an Instagram account? If it does, send it my way. And I would like to know what the subscriber count is. I mean, come on, that is planned. All of that is planned, but this is the culture that we live in. Wow, we have come a long way from Roger Staubach's wife. I mean, I will say this. I'm not one to judge, but Jason, this is a topic that you touch upon a lot on this program. What happened to discernment? I mean, just stand by your man means don't be the show. And again, you could dress the way you want. I enjoyed those images like every other red-blooded male in America. But there's a question that has to be asked here. Are you doing Jake Browning any favors? Does that help him in any way doing that? Seriously.
Helps herself. Steve,
Yeah.
I want to go back to the genesis of all this. And this is something you will remember and can relate to because you're such a hardcore college football fan. Brent Musburger and Jen Sturger, they started all of this. They started this all, I don't know how many, if it was 15 years ago, I can't remember the date, someone hop in my ear, but let's play the video. I think it's SOT number 9. Let's play the video of Brent Musburger, making Jen Sturger a superstar?
1,500 red-blooded Americans just decided to apply to Florida State.
The breather.
Yeah, indeed, Jack. Florida State will take this, Gary. And looking down the road, I thought that.
I, for a time, was friends with Jen Sturger. She had the incident, controversy with our man Brett Favre. I liked Jen Sturger. She tried to launch a media career after Brent Musburger made her famous, and she became even more famous over the Brett Favre situation. But do you remember that moment? And to me, that's what's changed women's behavior in the stands.
Well, Jason, remember when it was A.J. McCarron's girlfriend that was featured on a shot? And I think it was during the national title game in 2012 when Alabama was blowing out Notre Dame, and they showed McCarron's significant other. And Brent didn't hide his lust for her. And that became a viral moment. But I there's nobody that told Jake Browning's girl, like, can you put on something else? It is what it is. I'm not one to judge. I don't really care all that much. But there comes a point in time, it says a lot about the social media era. Like, I'll be honest with you. If I was a family member of a significant player in a professional sport, I don't want the cameras on me at all. I don't, just the way I am. I'd like to watch the game in privacy. And in fact, if I was in one of those suites, like let's say I was an owner, I don't want any of my reactions caught just the way I am, because I may do something or say something or make a gesture that's going to be very, very regrettable. I would put like a glass, like a tinted glass so that no one could see me. That's just the way I am. I like to just enjoy my game, drink my booze, eat all the free food, and just do whatever I want to. But I don't want to be any part of the show, but that's just me.
Yeah, you want to be DeMar Hamlin, basically. Remember he came back and was this mystery figure when he came off that injury. Hey, Steve, we're going to hang up and reconnect with you here to see if we can clear up some connection issues. I'm going to take care of another one of our great sponsors, and we'll be right back with Steve Kim. But before we go, I want to talk to you guys about why you should be banking on yourself. Are you being lied to? Wall Street tells you to put your money in an IRA or 401k. They say that risking your life savings in the Wall Street casino is a secure investment for the future. Yet studies show the average American who follows that advice will outlive their savings by 10 years. Bank on yourself is a better way to grow and protect your hard-earned money. This retirement plan alternative has never had a losing year in over 160 years. With Bank on Yourself, your plan doesn't go backwards when the markets tumble. Your principal and growth are locked in. You'll know the minimum guaranteed value of your retirement savings on the day you plan to tap into them, and at every point along the way. And you'll know what your tax rate will be in retirement, 0. Under current tax law, which protects you from the coming tax tsunami, you get access to your money for any purpose with no questions asked and without government penalties or restrictions on how much income you can take or when you can take it. Try doing that with your 401k or IRA. You can't. This is the strategy famous businesses like McDonald's have used, and almost anyone can do it. Your money is guaranteed to grow by a larger dollar amount every single year in both good times and bad. Do you want guaranteed, predictable annual growth, control of your money, and tax-free retirement income? Then go to bankonyourself.com/fearless, and we'll send you a free report with the proven retirement plan alternative that banks and Wall Street are desperately hoping you never hear about. Just go to bankonyourself.com/fearless for your free report. bankonyourself.com/fearless. All right, Cosell, there's a baby controversy in Seattle over a picture of the Seahawks enjoying a victory cigar after winning their final game of the regular season. They didn't make it to the playoffs. People are complaining, hey, they're celebrating not making it to the postseason. How dare they? Blah, blah, blah. And I believe the kid's name is Julian Love, jumped in and says that the cigars were a celebration of his newborn baby that was born 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was saving the cigars. And my thoughts are like, hey, Julian, don't explain this at all. I don't have a problem with the Seattle Seahawks enjoying a celebratory cigar after winning a game, completing a regular season with a winning record, and these guys coming through on the other side healthy. I just don't have a problem with them celebrating. Hey, we made it through the season. We had a winning record. We ended the season with a win. These guys don't have to run around and, oh, God, we didn't make the playoffs. I can't enjoy a cigar and I can't take a picture. This may be the only time this group of guys are teammates in the NFL. I just don't think they have anything to be ashamed of here.
I don't know. I mean, that's the old tradition of passing out cigars for your kids. Look, the fans. Look, Seattle had a bit of a disappointing year, though, Jason. There were expectations, and they fell short of them. They were supposed to be in the postseason. They're not. I have a question. Do you have to take a picture over everything nowadays? I mean, I'm going to sound like that old guy telling people to get off the lawn, but guys, you can enjoy the cigars. You can take a picture, but then do you have to post them? Honestly, as a fan, if I'm a Seattle fan, I'd be like, I didn't make the playoffs. I'm honest. I can kind of see both ways of it. Honestly, I don't have that much of a problem with either side of the equation, but the fans that are disappointed that you're taking pictures because you didn't make the playoffs, you know what? I don't completely disagree with them.
Cosell, you're driving me crazy today. I can't predict what position you're going to take, what you're going to say. You got no problem with Jameis Winston making an ASS of himself. You got embarrassing his head coach, disobeying his head coach, being on team entitlement. But, oh, yeah, Seattle, how dare you have a cigar after winning a football game?
They didn't make the playoffs. The game was meaningless. Congratulations on the birth of a child. That's fine. But again, I'm just telling you, the team was disappointed. It kind of reminds me when Jimmy Johnson cut John Roper. John Roper fell asleep in a team meeting because he had a new kid. And Jimmy comes over and said, oh, you did not get enough sleep. And he goes, well, here's the thing. You have plenty of time to get your sleep now. You're cut. And that's after the birth of a new child. Look, it's a cutthroat business. This is what you're in. It's what we do here. We're hard men in this business, the National Football League. Not me, but them.
Good Lord, Cosell. Well, now this one here, this next topic, it doesn't matter what side you're on. So whether we disagree here or not is irrelevant. And because I'm not even sure I don't know if I got this figured out. The Miami Dolphins are backing into the playoffs, disappointing into their season. Tua Tagovailoa looked very average and mediocre. Miami's offense last month and a half of the season, not that good. Mike, who do you blame here? Who's more suspect moving forward? Mike McDaniel, the head coach that everybody loved, or Tua Tagovailoa, the timing rhythm quarterback who may not have enough arm strength to fully take advantage of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? Who do you have more suspicions of fraud here, Tua or McDaniel?
I'm going to have to go with Milli Vanilli McDaniel. Why did they get away from the run game? That young rookie from A&M, that little speedster, was tearing them up. And a lot of what they do is based on setting up play action, and they got away from it. I'm just telling you, A-Chain was running very well, getting swaths of yardage. I'm thinking, ride this kid and then take some shots. By the way, I love the fact people were pointing out Chase Claypool ran a poor route on that last interception. Right. That's why they never should have picked him up. What do you think you were getting? The guy doesn't care. So you got exactly what you deserve. But Mike McDaniel still wears the cool pants and the shoes. I guess the players like him. But that's on him. He got away from the run game.
Yeah, I'm expecting Miami. The Chiefs got the right opponent, in my view. If the Chiefs had to play Buffalo, they wouldn't make it out of wild card weekend. Getting the Dolphins, their offensive struggles, Chiefs defense pretty good. Andy Reid versus Mike McDaniel. Chiefs got the right team in the Dolphins, and maybe that's what there's a lot of interesting matchups week one, and we certainly know the NFL is invested in Taylor Swift advancing in the playoffs. So they got the right matchup with the Dolphins. Let me move on to a quarterback comparison. Jalen Hurts seems to hurt his finger, ended the season. I think I read a story last week, like Philadelphia has some concerns about Jalen Hurts. And I look over in Jacksonville, and they definitely should have some concerns about Trevor Lawrence. I don't get the Trevor Lawrence thing. There's something, the greatest QB prospect since John Elway, to me, isn't living up to the hype. They don't make the playoffs. He misses a fourth down pass or pass late in the game. Anyway, who's more concerning, Jalen Hurts or Trevor Lawrence? Which one of these guys would you either want the most or least want next season?
Whoa, that's like comparing the cold to the flu. I said this before. In the National Football League, you get a schematic advantage for about a year and a half. You saw what happened to Philadelphia with the loss of both coordinators. Both sides of the line of scrimmage are worse, right? But Hurts is very, very banged up, it seems like, in that physical style. Over the long term, I would still take Trevor Lawrence because of the style within the pocket. But Jason, as a guy that's a big Trevor Lawrence fan, there's no denying it. He took 3 steps backwards this year. This was not a good season for Sunshine.
I agree with you, and I'm the one guy in America. I drive TJ Moe crazy when I say this, but I'm the one guy in America that thinks Urban Meyer got a raw deal. Not saying he was great in Jacksonville, but I think the whole thing has been overblown about how horrible Urban was. And everybody spent look at what Doug Peterson, a new coach, and how much better this whole thing is. Miss me with, and again, I'm not saying Doug Peterson's not a better coach than Urban, but whole thing was exaggerated and overblown. I've always, since his rookie year, been like, something ain't right. Something's not adding up here with Trevor Lawrence. So I'm a bit more concerned about him because my expectations for him or the expectations for him were much higher than for Jalen Hurts coming into the NFL.
Jason, as I look at Trevor Lawrence, I wonder, was his best year his freshman year at Clemson? I mean, just think about it. There's an argument to be made for that. In terms of Philadelphia, Jason, an old fearless contributor, Seth Joyner, I've been watching his stuff. I got to give that guy credit. He's Nostradamus. He predicted this 5 weeks ago when they were 10-1. And I listened to the postgame show yesterday. Seth Joyner must have a crystal ball because he's out on that whole thing in Philadelphia. He's actually talking about coaching changes with Sirianni. That may seem crazy until you actually look at how right Seth has been about every single thing the last month in terms of the Eagles. They look like a team that is headed, I don't want to say first-round knockout because I think Tampa Bay's still limited, but they don't look like anything near that team we saw last year.
You just get. I'm gonna call up Seth, see if we can get him on this week, and hear what he says, what he's been saying and is saying about the Philadelphia Eagles. Steve, let me move into beyond college football and football. Your other area of expertise, the media, and boy, has Pat McAfee made some noise in the media this past week. He called out, actually, probably my favorite ESPN executive, Norby Williamson, and I'm not sure if McAfee's wrong for calling out Norby, but let's play the clip. Let's watch Pat McAfee go scorched earth on Norby. I think he did this Friday, and man, this is a shot heard around the world.
We're very thankful for the ESPN folks being very hospitable. Now, there are some people actively trying to sabotage us from within ESPN.
Funny.
More specifically, I believe Norby Williamson is the guy who is attempting to sabotage our program. I'm not 100% sure. That is just seemingly the only human that has information, and then somehow that information gets leaked, and it's wrong, and then it sets a narrative of what our show is, and then are we just going to combat that from a rat every single time? I don't know. But like somebody tried to get ahead of our actual ratings release with wrong numbers 12 hours beforehand. That's a sabotage attempt. And it's been happening basically this entire season from some people who didn't necessarily love the old edition of the Pat McAfee show to the ESPN family.
Sure.
There's a lot of those.
Fascinating. I've been there. I've been sabotaged from the inside. What I like here about what McAfee's doing is he's airing it out instead of just sitting back and taking it. And, you know, it's not what you want from an employee, but that's the environment and culture of ESPN. There's a lot of inner office manipulation and sabotage that is commonplace. I'm on record. I like Norby. I think Norby's right about a lot of things, and I think Norby's straightforward. But that culture at ESPN is pretty toxic. I went through it. I wish in retrospect, I kind of wish I had handled it the way that Pat McAfee did, get out ahead of it, call out the executives, because I went through this with John Kozner and Rob King at ESPN, where they sat on the inside and just completely eviscerated and savaged me and created narratives and worked with Deadspin to bring me down. John Skipper may have been in on it too, but I can certainly tell you Kozner and Rob King were. And so I halfway respect what Pat McAfee has done here. Air it all out. You know, don't let your enemies hide in the dark and in the shadows and use anonymous sources to set a dangerous and destructive narrative about you.
What was that old song, Take This Job and Shove It? I mean, how did we think this marriage was going to end up here? I mean, we knew this was not a great marriage, but this is the key, what I take away. Have your own platform to create your own leverage. That's what Shannon Sharp is doing in a different way, and Pat McAfee can go right now and do what he did 10 months ago and be his own brand, his own network, and be highly successful. But I wonder, Pat, as much as I respect you, I would ask you one question. What did you think you were getting into? How did you think this was going to end? And one other thing, Jamel Hill's trying to glom onto this like, I know what he's going. No, you don't. Jamel, your show stunk. No one liked your show. Your show's just bad. That show actually has an audience. So you two are not the same. That's the other takeaway.
She doesn't like Norby Williamson because Norby Williamson was the person saying, hey, this is a mistake. This shouldn't be the SportsCenter brand. It shouldn't be this political. It shouldn't be this much of a hip-hop for the culture show. And he did work to get her up out of there. And again, it's one of the reasons why I like and respect him, because Norby's right about a lot of stuff. He has taken on someone here that has his own platform and doesn't need ESPN, and he may not be able to survive it because Pat McAfee's come out, I believe today or yesterday at some point and talked about Burke Magnus. I think Burke Magnus is number 2 behind Jimmy Pitaro, and he's saying that Burke and Jimmy Pitaro have his back, and he's basically trying to put Norby out on an island and make them choose between McAfee and Norby. Not sure how that's going to work. If Pat McAfee runs Norby out of there, ESPN's going to become even more woke. And it's hard to imagine them getting any woker, but it could happen without Norby.
Well, that's a scary thought. And one last thing. The 6 was the worst abomination, okay? It was an embarrassment to ESPN and SportsCenter, okay? Nobody really liked it. The ratings showed that. But with that said, I go back to a familiar theme of mine. Was this extra money worth it for Pat McAfee, this aggravation? Wasn't he perfectly happy with what he was doing? I don't understand people that already make millions, and let's say you get another 33% on top of that. Jason, is your life 33% happier with that extra money? I don't get it. Maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm naive about this thing. But sometimes you're better off not taking certain jobs or opportunities.
He's, in comparison to me and you, he's young. And what happens with young people, they feel like the more attention they get, the better their career will be. And he's now coming to grips with, I got the money. I have a platform that I control. I don't need ESPN's attention because ESPN doesn't draw near the attention it used to. ESPN's brand isn't very strong, particularly with my audience. I'm talking about Pat McAfee's audience. Though his audience aren't ESPN fans. And so what he's figuring out is like, man, I can get enough attention on my own. All this extra attention I thought being a celebrity at ESPN and being on College Game Day, it's really not worth it. I can go do stuff on the WWE. I got my own stuff. But when you're young, you always think the more of a celebrity you are, the better. And it's just not true. It's like, it always cracks me up, the athletes and celebrities that when they go to a restaurant or go anywhere, they want to get ahead in the line and be let in because I'm a celebrity and I'm doing you a favor. And what the conclusion I reached was, when I show up at a restaurant and there's a line or anywhere, my first thought is, who can I give $100 so I can cut this line? I'm making all this money. Just let me use $100. I don't want it to be fame. I don't want anybody to do me a favor. I want to do it the old-fashioned American way, with a bribe. And that's why I look at all these athletes and like, you want them to treat you special because you're a football star or you're in some movie or on some TV show? It's like, I want them to treat me special because like they know, man, Whitlock's going to tip 30%. Whitlock's going to give me $100 to put him in front of the line. Whitlock's going to make my life better, so I'm willing to do something to make his life better. But young people and celebrities their brains are wired different. They're always looking for special treatment because of who they are, not because of how they behave. Maybe they'll figure it out in their 50s. Less attention, and you got all that money. Pay someone, make someone else's life better, and watch how much better they'll make your life.
I mean, Jason, when I watched the Sylvester Stallone documentary on Netflix, he said something that was incredibly insightful to me. He said, your first 40 to 50 years of your life, you're adding people. The last 40 to 50, you're losing people. As I hit this age, it is now very poignant because I notice it. We all go through more losses than we do gains in our lives. And I just wonder how many people at age 75, 80 who are highly accomplished or have successful, happy lives ever think to themselves on their deathbed, their last hours, God, I'm really glad for most of my life I worked that extra 12 to 16 hours a week, even though it really didn't change the quality of my life. God, I'm glad. And a wise man by the name of Bob Case, great friend of mine, I've known him for years, he taught me a lesson. He said, Steve, you ever seen a U-Haul pulling a hearse? You can't take it with you. I'm just seriously. Go to a funeral, go to the procession. You never saw a U-Haul pulling a hearse. Never. Just saying.
It's a great point. I want to stay in the media zone and give everybody a little preview of tomorrow's show, or what will be a part of tomorrow's show. And this is kind of just an excuse for you to comment on my Friday show about Stephen A. Smith and his memoir and just the exaggerations and outright lies in his memoir. But I want to play you this clip of Stephen A. Smith last year talking about the Houston Texans and how racist the organization was and how no black coach should ever want to be contacted by the Houston Texans. And now DeMeco Ryans and C.J. Stroud are in the playoffs, but let's play the clip.
You just wanted them to Band-Aid the issue for the moment to buy you some time before you did what you wanted to do. The Houston Texans organization are an atrocity. They are an embarrassment. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're an African American and you aspire to be a head coach in the National Football League, there's 31 teams you should hope for. You should hope beyond God that the Houston Texans never call you. Not as long as that man is in there. Because it's an embarrassment and something needs to be said about it.
I'm just saying, anytime I listen to Stephen A. Smith, and this is what I was getting at, how did he become the face, the voice of sports media? The guy knows virtually nothing about sports. He's never, other than maybe occasionally, back in the old days, he might have a trade rumor or something like that. But actually understanding what's going on in sports, understanding the decision-making of any organization, he's always embarrassingly wrong, embarrassingly bombastic, embarrassingly stupid. He's quick to play the race card to be popular over Twitter. I do actually get the Stephen A. phenomenon, and he's a plant, just like Cat Williams said about Kevin Hart. They don't put the most talented and most accomplished in those positions. They put the biggest buffoons and the easiest to control in those positions. Anyway, your thoughts on that clip and the stuff I talked about last week about Stephen A. and his fictionalized comic book memoir.
Yeah, I mean, the word bloviate comes to mind when I see clips like that. But, with Stephen A. Smith, look, there was a time I did enjoy his stuff. I talked about his ESPN 2 show that I was a pretty loyal viewer to. I always thought his commentaries on Allen Iverson back in his days were actually very good. I enjoyed his NBA coverage. But this current form of Stephen A. Smith, what I will say is this. He says so damn much, but so damn little of substance. And look, when you hear certain people take certain political stances, whether it's the vaccine or on immigration, racial and cultural issues, you do start to realize, and Cat Williams got into this about, are they saying what is on script? Are they a puppet? Are they allowed to ever step out of line? And Stephen A. Smith, in many respects, at one time I thought was a character. Unfortunately, like many people at that stage, he now becomes a caricature. It's this fine line. I'm not going to say that I disagree with everything that he says, but then again, I don't agree with everybody 100% of the time regardless. But Stephen A. Smith, when it comes to certain issues like the NFL and hiring practices, look, he says, again, I'll say it again, he says a lot and says very, very little.
Thank you, Steve. Great. Where are you at? You in Vegas again?
No, I'm at Mario Lopez's office. We had to tape the 3 knockdown rule early. And so that's why there's that poster that you see of Chavez, Meldrick Taylor, still a terrible stoppage. Richard Steele, damn you. Meldrick Taylor earned the right to stay on his feet. Me and Mario argue about that like cats and dogs, by the way. But yeah, this is where his office right now. And by the way, I'm going to Coach JB's house, Football Palooza, last one of the year. Take a private jet down here. We got the barbecue going, Jason. Come on, Whitlock. Come on. There's still plenty of time. Come over here. You can join us.
There is time for this year.
Yeah. You're not going to do it.
That's pretty
You're
tempting.
not going to do it.
But hey, tell Mario this.
Yes.
On Instagram, I have 2 favorite Instagram follows. Mm-hmm. Mario, he and his wife do some really fun stuff that just puts a smile on my face, some of the dancing. And then there's this Crystal Archie and her husband. Her husband used to play running back at Penn State and in the NFL. I don't know why I can't think of their name.
Mike Archie.
Yeah, Mike Archie. Yes. Yeah.
Good player. Number 2.
Yeah. She's got an Instagram account that's so spiritual and religious, and I just, out of jealousy or envy or whatever, I look at Crystal and Michael and look at their relationship. I look at Mario and his wife and their relationship. They just got fun Instagram feeds. I love it, and it's pretty positive. It's fun, and some of the dance steps Mario and his wife do are pretty fun. So pass that on to Mario.
I will let them know.
We'll play some tomorrow. Yeah, thank you. We'll play some tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Freedom, looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all this moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, no deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want